All right, let's get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. This is Iboga, A Bridge to the Divine, hosted by the Oxford Psychedelic Society. My name is Kenneth. I'm going to be moderating the conversation. We are very lucky to be joined by two incredible guests today. The first, Nima Gregory Puente, and second, Stephen Vasconcelos. Greg is an Iboga Nima or shaman, currently based out of Brazil. I had the great privilege, actually, of doing Iboga with Greg in a legal location, I should add. And Stephen is one of Greg's trainees, I guess is probably the best word. So the format of this event is going to be roughly an hour of moderated conversation between me, Stephen, and Greg. And then we'll open it up for 15 to 30 minutes of questions from the audience. So let me just introduce both of the speakers real quick, starting with Greg. So born in France, Gregory Puente encountered the Bwiti tradition in 1999 in a small village in Gabon. After some initiations, it became clear to him that this tradition was a real school of divine mystery, like few that still exist on the planet. He received the calling to study the tradition, and after a while coming and going, in 2002, he moved to Gabon to dedicate himself to his formation. He stayed by the side of Master Atome Ribenga for 11 years as a Nima student in the Mumba Eyano branch. On the 28th of December 2013, he was consecrated by his master as Nima in this branch. Since 2014, he has been working on his mission to help human beings to know themselves, initiating, healing, and serving as a bridge between the worlds. Under instructions of the spiritual plane in 2015, he created the format of this retreat, the retreat that I went to spread the tradition in other countries, continents, and cultures and help people from all over the world. And Stephen is the guardian of an ancient sacred site near his birthplace in Scotland, is that right? Yeah. Yes. Where Druids once gathered to celebrate the solstices. Stephen is a descendant of the Wallace clan through his grandmother. Their motto is Pro Libertate, which means for freedom. However, for Stephen, this now has a deeper meaning as he sees the spirit of our time as one of liberating ourselves from old stories that trap us in cycles of hurt and oppression and war. So most of the conversation today is going to be focused on Greg, with some input from Stephen. And so without further ado, let's get started. So this is a question addressed to both Stephen and Greg, which is, what is your life path, broadly speaking, and how did it lead you to Iboga? Greg, get us started.
Okay. First, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity that you gave to me to talk about my tradition. Our tradition, the Bwiti tradition. Every time it's a very great pleasure to share and to talk about this tradition. Then, like you say, many years ago, I was 24 years old. I met this tradition. I did initiation for the first time in Cocoa Beach, in this little village of Cocoa Beach. And after this huge experience, I came back a little bit. I came back in France, and I realized the doubts beginning to come about what I did, and well, many times that's happened. The doubt start to come, but in the same time, the art pushed me to do some research about my experience, about also other tradition around the world who use the same techniques and the same thing. And all my research proved me that I met a great, very high school of spiritual and divine knowledge. Then that's why after I decided to continue, because first, because I start to receive some answer, and after receive some answer, other question started to arrive, and then I decided to continue for my own research, not in this goal at the beginning to become Nima. It's many years after that this service, it's a sacerdote, it's a real sacerdote, really appeared to me clear, and that and now I must to prepare myself to become Nima. And I was very lucky. The spirit, the Mother, Father Divine, bring me very beautiful people around me to help me in this formation, because it was a long formation. In
Training.
in total 14 years to study, to become Nima with a great master like Nkame Saint-Germain in Coco Beach, my spiritual mother, and Eyene Abaga Marcelin, who was known as Master Atom Ribenga. Peace on his soul. He passed away more than 1 year ago. And yes, I receive a very, for me, I think very important and very good formation to become Nima and to actually now do my own services and to spread and help people all around the world, because I think we live in a special period where the humanity in general really needs some light and to reconnect with our higher self. But I will continue to talk more a little bit about this after. Thank you for this opportunity.
Stephen?
Yes, so I'm training with Greg. I have been for the last 5 years, more or less. My path was a bit checkered. I would love to have been like Greg and been a young man at 24. Saw this so clearly, but it wasn't so obvious for me. Essentially, I was out in the world. I had an international communications agency. So using the other half of my brain and focused on the image of countries. So I spent about 17 years in that world, lots of presidents, prime ministers, and CEOs. So completely different paradigm. And then the 2008-2009 crisis came along and it decimated my business. And at the time, my identity was very vested in that personality, who, for me, that person is almost dead. So much has changed since then. But what happened at that time was I heard a voice that told me to let it go. And so, whereas my first instinct would have been to fight to protect what I had and to hold on to what I thought was my identity, I heard this voice that I knew I couldn't not follow. And so I took a risk, and it was very difficult at the time, but I took that risk. And so for the last 14 or 15 years, I've been on a path of, well, let's say adventures in consciousness, initially working with different plant medicines. So ayahuasca, peyote, mushrooms, etc. Training as a shaman, or training in shamanism rather than to be a shaman. And so in 2015, I met a group who were offering Iboga ceremonies, but working with their own interpretation of Bwiti. And so I felt a very strong calling to do that ceremony then. It was full-bodied commitment from the first moment that I heard the word Iboga. I just had this scream inside saying, yes! And so I knew I was called to work with the plant. And so I ended up working with that group for a year. It was a really interesting year. I grew a lot and could see, just how powerful the plant was in terms of supporting you to advance in consciousness. But ultimately, the group that I was with, or the person leading the group, did not, although they said they had a formal training, they were essentially charlatans and had not been an integrity around what they said was their training. And so while my experience with the plant was very good, once I realized that I was learning from a charlatan, I stepped away from the plant altogether. But I did after being initiated in Gabon. So I went to Gabon. I was initiated by Gregory's, the teacher who transmitted the science to Gregory. And I had a very powerful experience. Because of the confusion that I'd experienced the year before, I stepped away from the medicine altogether for a while I integrated that experience until I found Gregory. And so Gregory is the very first white man to have officially completed the formal training. So there is another person in Gabon who has worked with the science and is a very good practitioner of the science, but has not perhaps had the same rigor and training as Gregory. And so I realized when I understood what Gregory was about that, I needed to be his student. And so I've since been accepted into Gregory's team, and it's been 5 incredible years. Maybe there are many more, but it's I just feel so blessed to be learning from someone who has given 14 years of their life and to spend studying in Gabon under very difficult conditions, making lots of sacrifices to bring this science to the West. And so, as Gregory said, it is a science, and it represents a very ancient mystical tradition that's not particularly well known or understood. And so, more than an experience with plants, which is very powerful, which Gregory will share about with you. Gregory is a Nima who has the authority, spiritual authority, to initiate you into a spiritual tradition. And so, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to listen to talk as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. So the rest of the questions will mostly be addressed to Greg. And so I was going to start off by asking Greg some questions about the spirituality surrounding Iboga. We mentioned the word Bwiti, which refers to the spiritual tradition coming out of West Central Africa, where Iboga is an essential sacrament. But I wanted to start by asking Greg to just tell us actually about the basics of Iboga. What is it literally as a plant? Where does it come from? Just so that the audience can familiarize themselves with this plant.
Okay, thank you. Alors, first we talk about the Bwiti tradition, who use a sacred plant. Name is Iboga. Then maybe I can try to explain a little bit all this word, Bwiti, tradition, and Iboga, and all this. Then the Bwiti, for me, that will be very difficult to talk about this. It's something that we can't talk about that. It's impossible. You don't know what is too big. The Bwiti tradition is it's a package of knowledge, custom, rituals, and habits that people have from a long past ago and give to the generation into the generation. This is a tradition. Then the Bwiti tradition, I can talk a little bit about this. And we use the sacred plant Iboga. I will talk also more about that. It's important to understand this. And the Bwiti tradition, the origin of the Bwiti tradition it's unknown, because in fact, it's something that I like every time to explain a little bit, that the Bwiti tradition is one branch of the primordial tradition. Because in fact, on the world, there are just one tradition. Just one. This tradition, this unique and primordial tradition, the first tradition to arrive on this earth, after are many branches, many sub-branches. It's like a tree. In a tree, you have one trunk. After, you have different branches. And the expression, and that's why the expression of all this tradition is totally different, very diversified. One go to the east, one go to the west, one go up, one go down. One has a leaf, one has no leaf, one has fruit. Many, a lot of expression. And that's why, if you look now in this earth, you will say that no, there are not just one tradition. There are, wow, so many. Imagine, just in one continent, the number of tradition that the expression of this tradition. And the Bwiti tradition is one expression, is one branch of this primordial tradition. And this primordial tradition comes from very, very far, very far. You know, some things that I like to say. I'm not here to explain and for you to believe what I said and trust what I say. I just give my own and honest point of view as a seeker, research. I make my own research. And there's something that I wanted at the beginning of this conference to explain a little bit for you, also to understand that, yes, I was initiated, I am initiated in the Bwiti tradition. I study with different masters, but the Bwiti tradition is very, very diversified. In Gabon, you can't imagine how many expressions what I call the Bwiti tradition can have. So many different. In Gabon, we have more than 40 ethnic different tribes in Gabon. Each tribe have now their own way of practicing this huge and diversified Bwiti tradition. And I'm not here as the representative of the Bwiti tradition. I can give you my own point of view, what I did my research, I make my own research, I receive some knowledge from my master, I receive also some knowledge from everywhere, other tradition on the world. I study different other tradition and religion in the world, and spirituality. And also the knowledge that the Spirit sent to me and give me also. It's this that make my point of view. Okay? And for that, I just want to open a door. Open a door, that means, like I said, you can believe me or not. What is important for you, if you want to really know the truth, is to do your own initiation, ask to the Mother Father Divine, and the Mother Father Divine can give you the truth, can show you, can give you some proof of what I say, if it's wrong or if it's right. But just for you to know that, okay, I open a door, you are free to come, enter, or you are free to stay at the door. Just wanted to say that the history of the humanity is much more complex than what we learn at school. the evolution of humanity. Earth is very, very old. Our planet Earth is very, very old. Humanity, we are very, very young. Our civilization, very, very, very young. But you just must understand that we had before that some other civilization who were before us, and this tradition come from here, from after Egypt and other point of the earth, where the knowledge was spread to the new civilization, and also in the same times in Egypt, presence of the pygmies, this little just by the side, but this indigenous people in the forest in Africa. Because Gabon, many people don't know Gabon. We have an idea of Africa like a savanne and desert, and but in Gabon, and not just in Gabon, but in all this region of the basin of Congo, that means Gabon, Guinea Equatorial, south of Cameroon, Congo, all this region in the line of Equator, it's the second biggest forest on the world. Okay? And in this forest live the pygmies, sorry,
Pygmies,
yeah. I have a very bad French accent, sorry. Then please, Kenneth and Stephen, if there are things that you don't really understand, you must also to help me and for people understand very well. Okay. Then in this very huge forest, there are these indigenous people from this forest, pygmies, who are nomad and travel in Africa during many hundred and thousand years, and spread this knowledge. To make more clear about this, just for you to be focused that actually more recently it's the pygmies who give this knowledge of the Bwiti tradition to one ethnic in Gabon, and after the one ethnic in Gabon to the other one, and it's a very, very long history. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not no anthropologist also. Then maybe there are some anthropologists who will give you all the details that you need if you want to know how this transmission come from in Gabon. But just for you to understand that now in Gabon, almost all ethnies practice a way of the Bwiti tradition, sub-branches of what I can call the Bwiti, the huge Bwiti tradition. And all will use Iboga. Now, maybe I will just talk a little bit about this famous tree. And Iboga, it's a tree. It's a tree. And it's the root of the tree that we eat. There are the roots. There are the first skin with mixed with earth that we take off, and after there are the bark of the root is this that we take off, peel it, and we eat. And Iboga, I'm not also a biologist. I will give you all, but just for you to know that Iboga has a lot of different type of alkaloid. Just one who is the most famous is ibogaine, but it's just one of, now I think we are more than 30. I think every few years, scientists start to continue to discover more and more about Iboga. Also, if you want to know more about the particularity of the Iboga, you can see some specialists who are. Me, I am an Ima, that means a priest and a doctor in the Bwiti tradition. I am initiator.
Initiated, yeah.
Initiator.
An initiator.
Initiative, yeah.
Initiator. And the goal of the Bwiti tradition is to help people to know themselves, to discover the divine presence in themselves, that we are divine. And the second goal of the Bwiti tradition is to help people in all areas of life. This second aspect sometimes is more important because we are human beings. We have a lot of problems in our life, and many times we go to the Bwiti tradition to resolve problems, but it's not the first, the first and the main goal of the Bwiti tradition. This is the second important, yes, because when people are sick or when people have problems, it's difficult to talk about mystical and spiritual things. You must first to take care of them, and generally it's during this process of taking care of them that they discover that but there are some things beyond this. The Mother Divine's work through this. And then they discover more. This is the second goal of the Bwiti tradition, help people in all areas of the life. And Iboga is a sacred tool. One of sacred tools that we use in the Bwiti tradition. And we use many other tools. But it's certainly the main one and the more important that I use as much as I can because it's very efficient.
Could you talk more about that, Greg? The efficiency of Iboga and in general how Iboga helps to connect us to the inner divine, and how the rituals and ceremonies in the Bwiti tradition have evolved in order to strengthen that connection between you and the divine.
Yeah, good question. Alors, second thing very important that I wanted also to explain at the beginning of this conference is that the Bwiti tradition, it's a sacred tradition. Secret, yes. Secret in the way that there are things that I can explain to everybody, people who are not initiated, and there are also things that I can't say. I can just talk to people who are initiated. It's like this. And even if you are initiated, generally you receive explanation or knowledge regarding your own experience that you do on the spiritual plan. It's progressive.
Progressive, yeah.
Step by step. Yes. I received knowledge from my master just the day of my consecration. Some knowledge that I received just when I was Nima. There are some knowledge and things that we can explain step by step, progressively, regarding each people, and each people are different. Then, just for you to know that I will try to answer to many questions, but there are some also that I will not be able to answer. Because it's important for you to do your own experiences first. We talk about the spiritual world. We talk about the Mother, Father Divine, God, Deus, she has so many names on the planet. We talk about the divine, and it's first important to do your own experiences. Or work Iboga inside the rituals and this. First, Iboga in your body, we have different, what we can call energetic center. Chakra, as known as also chakra, or other names in different traditions. But this work and all is question of vibration in the universe.
A question of what?
Vibration.
Vibration.
Yes.
Vibration. Then what's happened normally in the state normal that is not normal? In the state normal that normal people, we are here, but our different chakra, energetic center, vibe in disharmony, not in harmony. Iboga, when we will eat Iboga, that will help all this chakra to vibrate in harmony, to be aligned, and then this strength of Kundalini will be able to rise. I will not give more details about this, just for you to understand that, okay, and after there are a special connection in this strength of Kundalini, who will pick in between the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. Sorry, it's difficult to pronounce it. And you third eyes and the chakra of coronal will also open, and you will be aware, hypersensitive. Iboga will work like this, and you will be able to do some experiences and travel on the spiritual plan. This is how it works. After that, it's important also to not do this in eating Iboga alone at home without people that you are not here. Why is not good? There are reasons. Because you open a door in a spiritual world with infinity, where good and bad are. There are everything. And you go alone like this, without security, without an address where you must go, and then all the ritual, and there are many, there are a lot of. I'm not here to talk about specificity of each ritual. I'm just here to explain that all this ritual, the presence also of the shaman, of the music, all this is to create environment where you are safe and where we can give some direction, where to go to meet some specific spirits, or to go in some place where you need to heal. And this is that all this ritual work, and all this ritual, the knowledge of this ritual come from generation and generation and generation and generation.
So,
and everything also is question about adaptation. Because at any moment, the spirit can reveal to you that, okay, you know, to arrive at this point, you must to do this and you must to do this. Then all this ritual, it's rituals who at a moment, the Mother Divine, the Mother Father Divine, the Spirit, send to the human being to say, okay, now if you want this result, you must to do this and you must to do this. Revelation.
So, Greg, you've talked about how Bwiti is this infinite tradition with many different branches. You were a Nima, and specifically the Mumba Eyano branch of Bwiti, and I was wondering if you could tell the audience what that means.
Sadly, I will not be able to say what that means. Like I say, there are things that we explain to people who are initiated. First,
Yes.
people must do the initiation. It's one branch, Bumbeyano, just for you to know the translation. Bumba means snake, Eyano means birth. Snake of birth. Okay? After
Your lips are sealed.
you must ask yourself to say, what is Bumbeyano? Yes. And it's the initiation who can reveal this. What is the Bumbeyano? It's a Bumbeyano is one branch, not the only one. It's the one mystical branch in the Bwiti tradition. Where there are some specific initiation who are more spiritual. Alors, spiritual initiation, say where you will be in contact between you and different spirit. There are like a hierarchy, celestial hierarchy, and different kind of spirit, different kind of plan, and then you do experiences with all the spirits. That means manifestation of this one who is the Mother, Father, Divine. Mystical initiation, it's you are relating directly you are yourself. That means through you are yourself and to the divine, the center divine, direct connection. It's a mystical. Then Bumbeyano, it's a mystical, one of the mystical branches that we have in the Bwiti tradition. It's Bumbeyano. And also, this kind of initiation can have also other names in different tribes and this. And but me, I am Nima in Bumbeyano. I'm here to initiate people to Bumba Eyano, not initiate people to Iboga. This is different. But maybe I will explain more about this after.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to the earlier question about ritual. And you mentioned briefly music. And I was wondering if you could tell us about the role of music in Bwiti traditions, and in particular about the harp that's sitting behind you.
Yeah. Then me, I come from Bumbeyano in the Bwiti, what people can call the Bwiti Fan. Fan is one of the ethnies in Gabon. The Bwiti practices by the Fan, I prefer to say, to be exact. And in the Bwiti tradition, we can, if I want to resume or just make it very simple, two main branches, what we can call the Disumba and the Misoko. And each one we use instrument, a sacred instrument specifically. And here in my branches, we use where I am initiated, where I am also initiator. We use the sacred harp, this instrument of music. Like you see, we use the sacred harp. And this make the importance of the music in the Bwiti tradition, and not just only in the Bwiti tradition. It's very interesting to see that in different places of the planet, the Earth, people use the same technique. A sacred plant with some music, sacred music with some sacred instrument. sacred song. People who sing, that is not just a sing, it's a prayer that we do. The meaning of the lyrics in the songs are very, very important. It's calling, it's we call some type of spirit, we do some special prayer, and the presence of what we can say, the human bridge, as I am, Nima, that means Ganga, Nima, someone who make this bridge between the spiritual world and the spiritual plane, who help people to go from the spiritual, from the physical world to the spiritual world, and help them after to come back well. This is important also, to come back well. And that's why we have all this positive ritual who create this safety and this bridge to the divine. And music, like I said, all is vibration, and the music create a particular vibration during the initiation that you must just to experiment by yourself. You will see, the vibration of the harp, or in the Misoko they use the mongongo. I don't know if you have a picture. I don't have a picture here with me, sadly. But people who are interested can Google it. It's easy now to Google it, mongongo, and to see this beautiful also instrument in the Misoko that they use, who create a special vibration during the initiation and help people to travel, like Kenneth.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You told me about this. I mean, wow, the music, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah. There are specific details that I probably shouldn't share, but we've been talking so far about this idea that the Iboga creates a bridge between you and the divine, and I wanted to go into that in more detail, and in particular how the Bwiti view the relationship in general between the spirit world and the human material world. Do the Bwiti view spirits as extensions of the human mind? Do spirits live within the human mind? And can the mind affect the movement and behavior of spirits in the Bwiti tradition?
Good question. And I really want to precise to that I'm talking in my own point of view. Okay, because it's something very important also that you must understand, that when you say what is the Bwiti or the Bwiti Bwiti traditions point of view of this, it's very important to understand that the Bwiti tradition also is not like a religion. For example, Catholics who have the Bible and they all talk about the same things because they just repeated the same things. Okay, then I can show you my point of view about this. What I study by my, like I said before, by what my different master teach me, the research that I also did by myself, the knowledge also that the spirit also gave to me. This is my point of view. And that will be very difficult for you to have okay, this is the Bwiti point of view of that. Every people will discover a part of the truth, and this one truth also can have many kind of representation. This is important to understand. Okay, then regarding your question about spiritual world, the relation between humans being and humans and spiritual world. I can enter more in the details, but like I said, that would be very, very also difficult for me to express myself, because we are here in a conference, in a public conference with people who are not initiated. Then it's better for them to do their own experiences. And then after, we can talk about spirituality and the spiritual world. Okay? What I can say, I will start, because my master used to say that it's very difficult to talk without, comment dire, dépasser, without going
too far.
Yeah.
Over the limit, going too far, going over the limit. It's very difficult. Then for me, it's an exercise of, walking in
Tightrope, yeah.
in a line. Okay, then I will try to give you some explanation about the spiritual world. First, there are some things that we must understand, because I realized this many times when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about the spiritual world, about the Mother, Father Divine, and all this. It's very difficult, because spiritual world are different than physical world. I will give you an example, very, very easy for you to understand. For example, here in the physical world, we are conditioned by two aspects very important: the time and the space, that not exist in the spiritual world. Our mind, since we are born, we are here as being incarnated as a human beings. That means we are spirit and body, both in this world, where we have the time and the space who are present, effective, and real. Yes. Time and space. Distance. That not exists in the spiritual world. Just for you to understand the difficulty for us as a human beings to understand spirituality. Because it's natural for us to try to understand things, and we are formatted by these things of time and distance. That makes things very, very, very difficult for us to understand. Because in fact, there are no separation. And when you say about extension, there are no separation, they are just one in the spiritual world. We are one. You must just understand that the spirit, what we can call the spiritual plan are, they are level and level and level and level. One of the first level with around us people, our ancestor, because they have a frequency very, the first level is our ancestor. And thanks to the Bwiti tradition, we are able to travel in this different world, in this different plan. We can meet and we can talk and receive things and interact with the ancestor who are around us. But also others and others and others.
And by ancestors, you mean our spiritual ancestors?
Yes, spiritual ancestor. Yeah.
Okay. This will be the last question from me before I move things to the audience. But I know that you guys wanted to talk about the practical benefits of Iboga as medicine, and ways that the plant in session has transformed people's lives. And I think we can bring Stephen back into the fold for this question. So maybe, Greg, you can answer that question from the maybe you can answer that question, Greg, from the perspective as a teacher. You know, how you've seen Iboga transform the lives of the people that you have initiated. And Stephen, you could answer this question as a trainee and as a student, you know, how this has transformed your own life.
Sure. Thanks. So in terms of advancing as a support framework and set of tools to advance in consciousness, comparing it to what I've experienced with other plant medicine traditions, which I have great respect and love for. This is in a whole different league. It's really something else. Yeah, I mean, I'm a completely different person already from the person that, you know, I was 7 years ago, and probably there have been a few different people in that time, in between, a few deaths and rebirths. But Iboga has been absolutely critical for that process of dying and unbecoming and rebirthing. So yeah, practically speaking, I've seen, as a student, I've seen people who've been junkies basically be healed. Thank you, Greg, for facilitating that powerful healing. People who have been suffering from incredible trauma and PTSD, sexual abuse, bipolar, people who have had brain damage, improve their ability to act in the world because of the regenerative capacity of the plant medicine. But otherwise, the best example I have is of bringing my own mother to a plant medicine session to have a ceremony, and that was not with Greg. But that might have been. She might have had an even more powerful healing if Greg had been there. But the healing that she did get was absolutely transformative, and so she's somebody who has had a very difficult life and suffered from bouts of schizophrenia. There'd been a history of alcohol abuse as well. But for the last 7 or 8 years, in that one session, she's an exemplar of positivity and harmony and balance, and she's completely together. And she's now 78 years old, and I'm really happy that she can transition in peace. She's well, so hopefully she's going to be around for a bit longer still. But those are some of the practical transformations and healings that I've seen. Of course, Iboga isn't a cure-all. There are some things it probably can't do as well as other medicines or healing interventions, but I haven't seen anything quite like it. Its ability to essentially hardwire the brain is second to none. And aside from that, it also, when you're in the experience, you can feel it working throughout your entire system. So yeah, over to you, Maître.
Thank you. Yes. It's a little bit difficult for me to really explain everything then, because people will think, ah, yes, but he is an imam from this tradition. Of course, he will say that, he will say that. But I saw miracles in front of me. What people can in church or in other religion talk about miracles, I already saw many in front of me during 14 years to study, particularly when 11 years with my master at the master at Ribenga, where people almost every week people arrive to do initiation. Then I saw many people, many life transform, changing, healing, incredible people that we bring in the temple. After 1 week, they start to dance and things incredible. But just want to talk about that finally, why we are here. Why we are here on this earth. We come here, we do incarnation. If you believe or not that there are many incarnations or not, up to you. For me, I did my own research, and I know that we come many times in this earth. We do many incarnations in this earth. For what reason? For spiritual evolution. Spiritual evolution. We come here for that, to evolve, to grow. Like my master used to say, that we are here at school to learn by our own experience, by the life, experiences of the life. We do our own experiences. We are here to learn. And for what? To remember who we are really. Who? That means to realize, reintegrate that we are divine beings. This is what we are here for. We are not here to have bank account, car, house, family, all this honor, power, all this and money. No, we are not here for that. That can be useful. It's a way of experimenting the life, but we are not here for that. Then initiation for me, it was this. Yes, changed my life. Because I start to realize that I'm not Greg. I'm not Puente Gregory. It's wrong. This is just a part, this is just my role during this moment, but I'm not here. I'm a human being. That means I am divine. I am son of the Mother Father divine. I discovered the divine who is inside myself. And after, we must integrate this and to really live this. It takes time. We must experiment it. Then, yes, initiation for me is the most important things, because it helps you to remember and help you to grow and to... it's a high jump on the spiritual evolution. You understand things. You start to really understand things, and you change yourself to be better, to try to do the best, because you understand also that, okay, life is like this, like life were like this. That's why some philosophers say that you must know yourself first, and after you will discover the Mother, Father Divine and all the spiritual world. And all works, all this. Then, yes, this is for me the most important tools to advance in life, to stop, to just walk on the life like this, but to try to understand better where we come from, who we are, and what we must do and of course to ask help, because yes, there are many things that we must do clean.
I had actually one more question that I thought of, Greg, which is, you've said throughout this conversation that it's difficult to describe a lot of these things about spirituality unless the people in this room have been initiated, unless they've had the experience themselves. So perhaps you could talk about how people can prepare to be initiated, and how they can know when it's the right time as well to have this experience in their lives.
Good question. Good question. The right time. The right time. It's important. Yeah. Or people that can prepare themselves. There are many ways of, and it's something that also I explain after the initiation. People ask me the same question even after the initiation. That said, how we can maintain this connection with the higher self, because this is the way to connect with your higher self, to connect with your heart. Everything is from the heart. To connect with the divine who is inside you. Yeah? There are many ways. Every people are different. Each people are different. Of course, there are things that I can teach. I can give some exercise. We can give some recommendation. But every time, what is the most important first is to do the initiation, to meet yourself and to discover who you are, and that means how you work. All this higher self, all this divine presence inside you work with you. There are some people, the Mother, Father Divine, the Spirit will say, you must do yoga. Oh, daughter, you must do to study in this tradition or in this religion, or you must do practicing surf, or you must do, I don't know, many ways. Meditate, and this, they are not just one way. And each people must to discover their own way to, yes. How people can prepare themselves to be initiated is to, yes, to release addiction, to do purification, to prepare themselves, because, and that's why in the initiation process, there are this first step. And I think everywhere you go in the Bwiti tradition, we will have this first step, which is very important, the purification, the preparation for the initiation. Then, generally, there are not many things to do by yourself at home, because that will be included when you will go to see a master in Gabon, or with me, or everywhere you want to go. You will have this first preparation phase. In Gabon, there are sometimes the preparation was 1 month or 2 months of preparation. You are here just in the temple taking bath, not eating Iboga, nothing, just preparation. It's important. Then, yes, it's purification. You prepare yourself. And how to know that you are ready for that? Listen your heart. Also, life also talk. You will receive certainly some sign. In the same week, there are 3 people who talk about Iboga. I already received people who explain me very crazy things, what we can call synchronicity. You must also to be aware of that, to listen, and to see I think this is the sign that I must go to the initiation. Yes, but it's difficult, and this. Yes, but there are some signs. Sometimes the spirit push you. Okay, because sometimes we are a little bit afraid. It's normal. It's normal to go to this kind of experiences. It's normal to, yes. But just to trust, and at the moment, just doing relaxation, meditation, align yourself, be in your heart, and ask to your heart, is it the right moment? And you will listen. The answer, you must listen.
Thank you, Greg. So you've got about 15 minutes of questions from the audience. Hopefully you'll be able to hear them, but if not, I'll just repeat them back to you. Any questions? Yes, Aiden.
Why do you think the Iboga plant produces ibogaine in the first place?
Did you hear that question, Greg?
No, it's a little bit I just...
No worries. The question is, why do you think the Iboga plant produced ibogaine in the first place?
It's not that they produce in the first place. It's the most important in the Iboga. Alors, everything that has a reason, for sure, and give the particular special particularity. But Iboga, it's all this. It's this that I just wanted to explain, that, okay, Iboga is not, because there are some people who do confusion between Iboga, Ibogaine, for them is the same things. And just to clarify that Iboga, it's much more than Ibogaine. Of course, there are reasons why Iboga, the Ibogaine is mostly present in Iboga and proportionally to the others. There are a reason. And also we must also to understand that the particularity and the propriety of Ibogaine, we just started to do some little bit of research. Of course, first, this research showed that Ibogaine can help for against addiction and against all this, but it's just a little part of what Iboga can do. And for me, that will be a very too easy to do because Iboga is more specializing in treating addict people or the property of Ibogaine. Do you understand what I mean?
More questions? Yes, in the back.
They can hear me, but
I'll just repeat the question. Yeah, no worries.
yeah. So, Stephen, you mentioned that there are difficulties in. Sorry, I'm getting lost with my questions. I was basically wondering about how to find a reputable guide for this, because there are, as you mentioned, different traditions. So if there are different traditions, how do you know if they are genuine? And related to that, is there something behind to make sure that this is sustainable, because there are issues with other plant medicine that is over harvested and too early for it to fully grow. So is this an issue that you find or might see in the future, considering that it's...
So was the first question directed to me, and the second
was you mentioned that
about the charlatan experience?
Yeah.
No, people lacking integrity.
Yeah.
So I can answer the first question, and then the second one about the sustainability of Iboga, I hand over to Gregory. Yeah, just like every other corner of our world, there are people who live and practice and live their lives in the spirit of integrity, and there are people who cut corners and don't show up in full integrity, unfortunately. And so, yeah, that's a really good question. How to know? So from not choosing well with my first experience, and then spending a year with training with somebody who wasn't in full integrity, I only learned towards the end. I realized that it is really important to do your homework on the lineage and the training. that people have. And so you can ask, I mean, you just have to do your own due diligence and make sure that you kind of know what you're looking for. Certainly, so you can go to Gabon and find a lineage, but that's, the only person in the West who has the full authority to practice, having trained in the proper way, is Gregory. And so he does ceremonies in Europe, not in the UK though, but mainland Europe, twice a year, and in Brazil, where he's based. But aside from Gregory, you can go to Gabon as well. But me personally, I like the... Sorry.
If I can just a little bit complete about this, because it's 2 times that Stefan talk about this, and I don't like really to talk about that. If I am the first one, the only one, I don't know. But what is important is, yes, to do this kind of experience with somebody who is training for that, who receive authorization, and this. Is this important? Because yes, it's a very initiation. It's very important to talk about soul of people, and you must be prepared to do this. It's not just you come in Gabon, you just look one time. I already meet some people like this. Some people who never go to Gabon, and they start to give Iboga to the others. They don't know what, and when there are a problem, they are like this. And sometimes they do this. Why? Because they want money, and this. Many things, and it's for Iboga, it's for ayahuasca, it's for all the sacred plants. It's important to know where you go. That this is important. It's important that the people, and we can't judge. Also, we don't know how people, or we don't know how the Mother Divines do his own plan. We don't know. But thanks to this guy, Stefan, you meet Iboga, and now you know, okay, and you advance. Then absolutely, we can't judge people. We can't judge. I don't want that we judge this kind of people. I just know that for me, I spent many years in Gabon. If I am the first one or the 10th, or I don't know, and I don't want to know. But for me, what I know by my own experience is that I didn't lost my time to study 14 years with different masters to become Nima. It's important. And now I know why, because when I'm practicing since 2014, now that I am initiated, I am consecrated, and I start to initiate a lot of people. There are case and there are case. And it's good to have a good formation, because when we have some difficulty, you know what you can do. And the spirit works through you first. It's important to know. It's not me who will do things. It's the spirit who works through me. Then là, there are more chance to find a solution and to handle the situation. If you are not prepared for that, wow. And là, you can create a lot of mess around you. Huh? And sometimes I receive people who come from, and you say, oh, I was there, but oh, and yeah, just that.
Greg, the second question from the audience was about sustainability. I can't remember the exact question, but perhaps for some context, there's been a lot of Iboga trafficking.
It's a very important. It's a very important subject. I'm not specialized like this. I am me as Nima. That means I initiate people. I use Iboga, of course, but it's important for me also to say that Iboga is in danger. We must take care of Iboga. And thanks to some people in Gabon, and I know different people who work to help to really take care of Iboga. It's important. But just also to understand a little bit the problem, the very huge problem of Iboga is the traffic of Iboga, clandestine Iboga, where Iboga go around the world by container, you know that? For produce Ibogaine and to be transformed or to be sold at a very high price to laboratories. For me, this is really dangerous, and we must to plant in Gabon, we must to plant, the government start to work with some people of the, comment on appelle ça, some organization, foundation that are, for example, Blessing of the Forest, who is very knowing around the world, who work for helping Iboga to conserve it, to make plantation, to be more sustainable. Is very important, and I'm very grateful to all these people who work for the conservation of the Iboga. It's very important.
Thank you, Greg. I think we have time for about one more question. We're going to the pub with Stephen afterwards. Sadly, Greg will not be able to join us from Brazil at the pub, though we very much wish he could. So yeah, one more question. Yes.
We'll be in spirit.
Yes, in spirit, yes. Go ahead.
Thank you for this conversation. One of you called Iboga a sacred tool, but also mentioned that there are other tools. And I'm just wondering why Iboga? You know, there are many other ones. What is it that makes Iboga special as compared to some of the other psychedelics?
So the question, Greg, is what makes Iboga special? Yeah.
The man who asked the question, are you initiated to Iboga?
He's not, no.
You must try and you must see. I don't like to talk about this because I am a Nima of Iboga. People will think, oh, yeah, he said that because, but yes, I studied with Iboga during all these years. I was consecrated in 2014, we can say, end of 13. And then after I start to travel, and is after that my formation, after that I became Nima, that I start also to experiment in all those sacred plant. I prefer talk about sacred plant than psychedelic. Yeah, sacred plant. And what make it powerful? Honestly, I tried many things. Rapé, ayahuasca, mushroom, peyote, bufo, alvarius, other things. There are not one who is better than another. We must to stop this. They are all different, with some specificity, each one. And the specificity also is regarding each people. You must understand, and people ask me many times this question, what is the difference between Iboga and ayahuasca and others? No. Someone will give you his own interpretation because he did one experiences, but imagine, just with Iboga, if you do several initiation with Iboga, each experience will be different. Then how you can generalize is very complicated. Very complicated. I already heard many things. Oh yes, Iboga is the father and ayahuasca is the mother and this and many explanations that all are true. Because it's the result of the experience that one people do. But you are another people, you can experiment this, another things. Then, but I just can share my own experiences regarding this. And yes, Iboga is very special in my heart and very efficient, yes. powerful for sure, like ayahuasca, and like others also are very, very powerful. I think it's not necessary to enter in a comparison of higher, of better, of no, it's different, and each people will have a different perception of this difference. But for me, yes, Iboga is powerful and very precise, very clear, and give a lot of knowledge. And yes, but after you must do your own experience. It is this which is important.
I think we'll take just one more question from Adam, actually. Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for the fantastic talk. Just wondering, so you consult with the spirit for a number of things, and I wonder whether you've ever misinterpreted the spirit, or if there's ever been, outcomes of situations which weren't expected because of how you had interpreted your consultation.
Did you hear the question, Greg?
Can you repeat? No, it was not.
The question was, do you think you've ever misinterpreted the teachings of the spirits?
Misunderstanding the teaching of the spirit.
Yes.
It's a good question. It's a good question. Because can arrive.
What was that?
That can arrive. People can misinterpreting the message of the spirit. And that's why also it's important, yes, to be guided with an ima who can help you to decode and to interpret things, because spiritual world is a very subtle world. And there are many ways also for the spirit, the Mother Father Divine, to communicate with human beings. There are the dream, there are vision, there are audition, there are sensation, perception, many ways of communicating. And there are many ways of this communication who the interpretation will interfere in the process. You receive a vision, for example, after is the interpretation of this vision who is important. And that you can interpret in different way. And that's why it's important to know how to interpret the symbol and try to decode. And that's why also it's important for Nima like me to study and to learn and to know. And of course, there are not, I know almost nothing. I know almost nothing. So we must admit this, that human beings, we know nothing. But the little things that I can, this can help for the people to interpret the experience, because initiation, the experiences of the initiation is huge. And integration and interpretation of this initiation are something which is very, very, very important. And sometimes I saw people, sometimes in Gabon, I saw people who go do initiation, they travel and they receive no explanation, they come back, and after, wow, super difficult. And yes, it's very important, very important. But you must also to continue to conclude, to finish with this answer. Also, even if at some point you misunderstanding or you misinterpreting the message of the spirit, that will be during one moment, but after the spirit also will see that, okay, he is not understanding, and he will send you more message, and then you can have more chance to understand, okay? And that's why it's progressive, and that's why it's important to continue your process of be more and more in communication with your are yourself, and then you are yourself can give you more interpretation, right interpretation, and you can separate a little bit the interpretation of the mind and separate a little bit the real interpretation sometimes, because there are sometimes different.
All right. Thank you so much, Gregory. We really appreciate your time. And Stephen, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
us.
you. Thank you for all the assembly, all people who were here, who are here. Like I say, for me, every time it's a very great pleasure to share what I can share.
Thank you so much, Greg. We really appreciate your time. And for the rest of you who are here in person, once again, we'll be going to the pub, to the King's Arms after this to continue the conversation. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you, and hope we will have a next moment to continue to talk more about that. And I hope also that people will maybe I can do initiation.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but yes, it's important. It's important for you that to understand that now it's something very, very important for you to reconnect with yourself, reconnect with the nature. We are a lot of disconnect with the nature, a lot of disconnect with ourselves. Then yes, you are welcome. Thank you.
Result, guys.
Stay all with love, peace, and wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.